working for people who have no money to pay. And nobody designs, especially organized industry, does not design things for people who have no purchasing power. They design for people who have lots of money. We should only make things which are worthy of being in this world.
Hi everyone, thanks for tuning into Notes of Design. In this episode, we have a very special guest with us. Let's welcome Professor Kirti Trivedi, sir. Hi sir, welcome to Notes of Design.
Thank you very much for having me.
So how was your day so far, sir?
Busy recording the episodes, tiring but enjoyable.
That's wonderful, sir. So if you could give a brief about yourself to our listeners out there.
So this is a very difficult question to answer, to give a brief about myself, because I can say I'm an industrial design professor, or I can say I was in IIT Bombay. But I keep telling my students many times that the more you identify yourself with a smaller identity, the more you diminish yourself. So if you say I'm a graphic designer, you exclude all other kinds of design. If we say you're a logo designer, then you exclude all other kinds of graphic design. But if you say I'm a designer, or if you say I'm a human being, or if you say I'm a living being, then your interests align with interests of all living beings. So the more you say you are specialized, you're cutting yourself off from all the others. So I, as a living being, only spent a lot of time teaching and designing.
Thank you so much, sir. So what was your journey into design? How did you start? And what are your tips to the beginners in starting their design journey?
I think I was born a designer. So we cannot ask listeners to be born designers. You are born and then you discover there is a designer in you. Fortunately, my father, he was completely free hand. He never told us what to do. So the designer in me was nurtured. And I think that's the best way for anybody to figure out what you are and follow it. I used to do covers of books when I was very young. I used to do very elaborate Ganpati Jhanki. I used to make mock-ups. So I think I was born a designer. So I did mechanical engineering from Indore. And I was thinking what to do next. Mechanical engineering, we went into, there were only two choices. So either be a doctor or be an engineer. I can't handle blood, so I became an engineer. After engineering, I was thinking what to do, and I saw a newspaper ad describing IDC. And amongst the things they asked you should bring was color paper, camel paint, brushes. I said, this is the place for me. I should go and join this place. So I applied to IDC. I was 100% confident I will get selected. Because even when I was doing engineering in the evenings, I was doing fine arts. I did two programs together, BFA from Fine Arts College and engineering from Engineering College. So it was very smooth ride. That time, nobody knew what is industrial design. I'm second batch of Industrial Design Center. Nobody had an idea what is this. But it looked very interesting to me. And here a course where you play with colors, make things. I visited IDC, saw the department, liked it immediately. From there, it was 15 months course, a diploma, postgraduate diploma in design. After that, I worked briefly in a television company. So after industrial design, from IDC, I asked many people which is the best school in the world. And many schools were suggested, but everybody agreed that Royal College would be best, but very difficult to get admission into. I directly wrote a letter to Professor Misha Blake explaining why I want to join Royal College, and I was given admission. Then fortunately, I also got the national scholarship for study abroad, so I could go there. Royal College actually shaped my personality because the teaching system it follows. They don't teach anything. There is no organized teaching, there are no classes, there are no assignments. It's a postgraduate college and you spend 2 years in the company of the most talented people from all over the world, young people, to find out who really you are and to discover yourself. So you choose your projects, you do it, college just supports. And to somebody who is being conditioned to learning from teachers, this was a completely new experience, finding your own interest. So that was Royal College.
Thank you so much, sir, for sharing your wonderful, inspiring journey with us. So let's get into our episode, which is industrial design and its evolution. So how have you observed the evolution of industrial design over the years? And what are the most significant shifts in design philosophies or the methodologies that you have encountered?
Actually, looking back, I went to Royal College in 1972, is 2024, so nearly 50 years. Looking back and seeing how industrial design history has evolved, I think those were the best years to be in England. England was the center of world creativity, and Europe was the center of great ideas in design. And we actually were living in the most creative phase of design history as far as industrial design is concerned. There were so many great designers. Each one of their products was a great event, and we used to go and watch and learn. Every product was discussed in great detail, and so that was the actually main idea. From India also, we learned about those designs, but from magazines. But to be actually seeing them or actually hearing them coming to the class and discussing was a completely different experience. Fortunately, I got to work with them, many of them afterwards, very closely.
So how have the emerging technologies influenced the trajectory of industrial design?
If we consider up to now, if you consider to current time, to today, the main trend is physicality is losing its importance and experience is becoming more important. Also, the appeal of the individual product which was there. My father had a Parker pen. He kept it for 30 years. When it finally gave up, he wrote letters to everybody saying, my pen is gone. It wrote so many things. That kind of attachments with products are not there. So now we have discardable objects, and the consumption society actually promotes the idea that whatever we have, even if it's perfectly working, we should throw it away every 6 months or every 1 year. So physicality of products is losing its value. And actually it's the experience we decide. This is the trajectory. That time products were very valuable. You used to love them. You used to have a relationship with them. They were objects to admire, like the Olivetti typewriter. It does terrible typewriting. I use it for my report writing. But it's such a beautiful thing to own. So that glamour of objects has completely disappeared. Everything, if you define in generic terms, is electronics in a box, and that box generally is rectangular. So objectives become rectangular boxes with electronics and whatever.
Thank you so much for that, sir. So as we are speaking about phones and the rectangular designs, what do you think about the modern phone design and the approach?
Actually, there's a very important dictum in design or principle of design, I learned in the Ulm philosophy, which was form follows function. And so products have to have appropriate functions. The function decides what something will look like. Now, the mobile phone, for example, you don't know what is the function of a mobile phone. It's your travel agent, it's your bank, it's your video recorder, it's your time, it's your calculator, it's your diary, it's your personal assistant. Last of all, it's a phone. It's your camera, it's your video camera, it's your social network. So, the whole idea that form follows function has gone. It's just what something provides, and we don't particularly care what it looks like. What we care about is what it provides. So, actually, if you see the advertisement selling also, they don't so much spend on what it looks like, but how it will change your life, how it will save you in a disaster, for example, there's the emergency response system, how it will alert the authorities. So it's what something does rather than what it looks like. That's the shift, no? That's why the attention has gone away from physical appearance. It's no more relevant.
Thank you so much, sir. So what's your take on, like, with the increase of importance of sustainability, how has industrial design adapted to these new challenges?
Industrial design has not adopted. There was a very famous designer and activist called Victor Opanek. I don't know if you heard the name, in the 70s. And he used to say there are professions worse than industrial design, but very few of them. He's saying only advertising design probably is worse than industrial design. Because industrial design by its very nature, became a tool to market things, to increase the culture of consumption. The most famous industrial design in American history, Raymond Loewy. He got America out of depression by designing attractive things. The Coca-Cola bottle, for example, is this thing. So people felt like buying it, which gave impetus to the economy. So industrial design, there is a point of view even now that the more you consume, the better is the economy. If people stop buying, economy is in bad shape. Now, this principle is completely against the principle of sustainability. Sustainability means reduce your wants, consume the minimal. If you have one and it will do, don't have two. So, design as such, it's good as a slogan, it's good as a course to put in the curriculum that we are teaching sustainable design, but which company would want their products to last 20 years? Because once everybody has it, their demand will go. They want them to discard. Japanese companies are masters in this. This is called planned obsolescence. Professor Kumar Vyas taught us this term. They plan the product cycle. So when you buy, it looks very attractive. But 6 months after, I have the planning sheet of Sharp Corporation. They will put a much better model at a much cheaper price. So you feel, I should get that. I just spent 130,000 on this iPhone 14. No? Last week they say, I must have iPhone 15. I had previous iPhone which lasted 11 years for AC. So products, planned obsolescence means they will automatically break down. That means cars after 3 years will begin to give huge problems. This is by design. So as such, the profession of industrial design is not based on sustainability. It's based on promoting mass consumption. It's just used as a popular phrase, so just to, what you call, feel better. That we are thinking. But I know no company which supports sustainability.
So how can designers ensure that their work remains culturally sensitive and inclusive in an increasingly globalized world?
Actually, we have to look at the role of designers. Why industrial design is a profession which came into existence because of mass production. Before mass production, the producer and the users were directly connected. I could tell the village tailor, I want a shirt without collar, long sleeves, 10 buttons, this kind of whatever I wanted, the producer could talk to the user. When it became mass production, you are making millions of shirts to sell online to everybody, you have to generalize. So the profession of industrial design came to aggregate the wants of the consumers and make products which will appeal to everybody. That's where the profession was born. How far it succeeded is another question. But I tend to agree with Victor Poponek. It's a harmful profession. It consumes resources, it makes things obsolete, because there's enough to make things you fall in love with. You, आपका grandfather की cupboard or chair or furniture passes on to you, then it's passed on to the next generation. And you're very proud. This is from 3 generations in your family, but they are made to go obsolete.
So Kirti sir, how does ethics plays a role in industrial design, especially concerning the consumerism and the data privacy?
Actually, ethics has the most important role in industrial design or in object creating, because objects define what kind of society we have. Unfortunately, designers by and large become servants of organized commercial enterprise, and they fulfill the wishes of the enterprise. And if those wishes go against sustainability or ethics, I think the bottom line has an edge. So designers have only 2 choices, either to obey or to quit. There are many designers who have a strong sense of ethics. They quit, they do their own way. So they are designers who don't design armaments, who don't design cigarette packs, who don't design liquor bottles. So it's a personal choice actually, and not. We had this dilemma in IIT Bombay to decide the cockpit of a fighter plane, and fighter plane in a split second you have to take the correct decision. So it's a major ergonomics problem, not to design machine guns or to design whatever. Then basically you're improving the efficiency of killing machines. And those are the things you want. What will I do that I 100% kill somebody? So design, I always hold, is a constructive profession, not a destructive profession, and should follow this ethics. It's very important because we contribute to society and its attitudes.
So sir, can you recount a particular challenge you faced in a project and how you overcame it, leading it to an unexpected or innovative solution?
Actually, the biggest challenge when you work for societal benefits, when you don't work for commercial interests, but you want to make life of the poor or the downtrodden better. So you are working for people who have no money to pay. And nobody designs, especially organized industry, does not design things for people who have no purchasing power. They design for people who have lots of money. So many such needs which design can fulfill, they remain unattended. I call them unmet needs. And the project I designed, KAN, it was a community computer, because it's not possible, given India's condition, to give every student a computer. It's too expensive. So a computer with a projector, whole class can share. So whole class can learn. That was a very big challenge, but we overcame it very nicely. And for 20 years, it's the most preferred solution in government classrooms for people to use, because digital technologies, ICT as they are called, have brought democratization of knowledge. To buy books, you required a lot of money, but now you can have free access to any knowledge. So there should not be any difference in terms of learning resources in a rich school and poor school. Both can have access to same content, and products like Kayan solve those problems.
Thank you so much, sir. So looking at a broader picture, how do you think AI will be remembered in the industrial design history? And how do you see the future of it evolving?
You're already putting AI to history. It is just being born. So it will rule. It will become part of daily life. There is no way, this is the way things will happen. So finally, actually, computer industry so far has succeeded in convincing people who don't know how to use computers that people are dumb. They don't know how to use computers. This computer industry succeeded that people are computer illiterate, and they should educate themselves and spend a lot of money to learn how to use computers. What AI hopefully will do is make digital technologies human. So you won't have to learn computers. Computers will learn human beings. And if that happens, it's a very nice thing to have. Just imagine the magical things possible, no? Everyone can have a personal assistant who will find things for you, who will do things for you, who will anticipate your needs, because it knows you and all your friends, everybody. So done like that, it will become a very powerful tool. And even now, when I type my WhatsApp messages, it anticipates what I'm going to write. It saves me the trouble of typing in words. Because it knows me, it knows my habits, it anticipates. That's a big time saver, actually, according to me. So we should not be afraid of something we have created. I think God has better brains than human beings. In Holy Quran, it's written that God has made a perfect and very beautiful world. Can you see a crack in the sky? So everything God has made is perfect and beautiful. We should only make things which are worthy of being in this world. If we follow this principle that we should only make things which are worthy of being in this perfect and beautiful world, most of mankind's creation will get D or C minus, because we only created shabby systems and shabby infrastructure and shabby whatever. God is sustainable, self-sustained, self-repairs, self-corrects, keeps growing, makes beautiful things all by itself left alone. As soon as we intervene, we create a mess. No? So there is a design principle in India. Our God is Vishwakarma, God of all architects and designers and people who give forms. Vishwakarma means making like God made the world. So to understand the principles of cosmic creation and using them to create things, then they will also be as good as God's creation. But we don't even teach them. We only teach man's way of constructing. And this is the fundamental problem. Honestly, you can't compete with God.
That's true, sir. So before we segue into the other section, wanted to know what's your favorite or most innovative device according to you?
Innovative device. In terms of playthings, the ball. Ball is a great, highly innovative device. It's just a round thing. But the reason it's so innovative, it matches the enthusiasm of the player. So if you hit it hard, it comes back hard. If you're not interested, it will not respond. So there are more ball games than any other device games because this device, just a simple thing capable of doing endless pressure. And you can scale, you can make it turn in different ways, you can make it bounce in different ways. So it's the most innovative device, better than wheel actually.
So according to you, which are most interesting industrial designs?
So it depends on what you call good industrial designs. And most people, considering the number of awards Apple wins in all design shows and design awards, most people will put Apple products as good design or good industrial design. But if we limit industrial design to form design alone, Apple design has not added a single idea to industrial design vocabulary. More or less, it's a rectangle with radius, which was the first assignment in the School of Design. How to give various radiuses on rectangular form to create various expressions. And most Apple products, and they don't change, and there's a good reason for it not changing. So the greatness of Apple is not in the industrial design of its products, but in the experience it provides. Industrial design refers to a physical entity. Apple's experience keeps on getting better. Its industrial design by and large remains same. And actually, in terms of form you can admire, it's getting more and more difficult to find admirable forms, the kind we had in the 70s and 90s when there are so many great designers and incredibly innovative form design. So designs of Vittorio Sisas and Mario Bellini and Roger Talon and so many people. They used to delight with what they created. That has gone. Everything is electronics in a rectangular box and more recently in a cylinder. So every product form is that because the same construction principle, the physicality has been reduced to nothing. What it does that's important. So very tough right now. We don't, in proper design, we don't consider styling as design. So we don't consider people like Philip Stark, all the famous fashionable designer. They're just creating interesting shapes. Their chairs don't have the kind of study which went into a Charles Sims chair or which went into the great designers. So we have fashionable shapes, we have trends, but great design, less and less, in my opinion.
Thank you so much, sir, for sharing all these wonderful insights. So could you please share with us how does your day look like? Any interesting stories?
My day looks like all the things I must fit in a day. So it's like from the beginning, all the things we must finish. And that decides on my day. Depending on the deadlines, the urgency, what comes on top, the fires, the sudden visitor, somebody wanting to reach something because it's very interesting. The last hour of T20 match where it's not sure who will win and it's going to be interesting. Then the day goes for a toss. I sit and watch. So my day decides on its own. I don't have a typical day, but it's based on priorities of whatever happens.
Thank you, sir. That's really wonderful. So before we conclude the show, wanted to ask, like, what are your 3 favorite books and also people who inspired you the most in this space?
First, the books.
Yes.
Okay. First, I answered this question before to an Argentinian graphic design magazine. So first, Vastu Sutra Upanishad. It describes the methodology for form creation, giving form to abstract principles. This is about 1700-year-old manuscript. It's the Upanishad for form giving. Second is Donyalok. It's by Anandavardhan. It's also nearly 2000 years old. It describes how charm is created in poetry through implied meaning. And it says everyone should become learned. And it gives the methodology how to create charm. So when we design things, whatever, unless we make a charming statement which people will enjoy, it won't work. So to bring joy, this book is the mechanism. And third is Holographic Paradigm by Ken Wilber. It describes how the whole world is connected and now there are various levels of existence and how the physical level and chemical level and biological level and the spiritual level, how they have different laws and how laws of one level. This gives great clarity about things, especially objects, and putting them in their place. Because any physical thing is by its nature subject to decay and death. So ultimate reality is not in physicality, but in ideas. And we are now in idea age. So those are the books. Professor Sugiura, he changed my life. Meeting him is the greatest thing. J. Krishnamurti, great philosopher and heard many times, and Vinoba Bhave. I would have put Mahatma Gandhi because he leads our life, but I never met him. I'm born after him. So directly meeting these 3 people, very important. Acharya Vinoba Bhave, who take the Bhudan and Sarvodaya movement.
Thank you so much, sir, for sharing all these wonderful recommendations with us. We're looking forward to host you again in our upcoming episodes. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much. It was a great pleasure spending the day with you.
Thank you, sir.
I'm inspired.
Thank you, sir.